Hey everyone, I'm Lisa with Made to Create with Lisa, and welcome back to season 6 of the Great North American Stampin' Show. I'm so glad that you are back, that you're here to watch us for another fun season. This one is going to be so good because it's going to be all with the holidays, all of fall and Christmas and snowy and all the good stuff. So we are featuring the new holiday mini catalog that just went live yesterday on September 3rd. So you can check out all the goodies. You can see, if you don't have a hard copy of the catalog, you can see it online. It is all available right now. So all the links and all of that are in the description of my video here. You can check that out and go check out all of the goodies. But I do have a couple things that I'm featuring tonight that you're gonna love from the new mini. We chose, okay, I can't remember now. I'm going to have to open my book and see what page number that we're featuring tonight. The inspiration. So our challenge with me, Julie, Lauren, and Jody, we challenged ourselves to have our friendly competition to make a card design using the card inspiration from the Autumn Toile page. It's the page in the catalog. There are 4 beautiful samples to choose from, and I'll show you the one that I chose to use for my layout. So let's go ahead and dive in, and I'll show you what I've got for you tonight. Okay, so we are looking at inspiration ideas from page 39 of the new mini catalog. Look at all of these beautiful samples. It's using this Autumn Toile stamp set, and they're sweet, so it's featuring all of the papers and the stamp sets and stuff. But the layouts themselves are absolutely beautiful. So I chose to use this layout here. So if you look at it, you'll see that there's a gigantic die cut in the background, and then you have the focal point image there, and then a sentiment. So that is what I centered on when I was coming up with my design for today. So what I wanted to use for my gigantic piece, instead of a die cut, I'm using this new Etched Autumn background stamp. It is so big, and it's going to cover the entire background piece, okay? And so what I decided I want to do with it is emboss it. So I'm going to use my embossing buddy here. What this does is it makes it so that if I have touched the paper, the embossing powder isn't going to stick to it. Okay, and I'm going to pull in my Versamark stamp pad, and we're going to ink up the stamp. Now these background stamps are so gigantic that I always ink them up this way. All right, I don't know if you heard Taffy barking there. I think that she heard me honestly inking up my stamp and thought someone was knocking at the door. Okay, so what I do is I just get that really nice and inked. And then there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can push it down this way, but it's so big that it's actually easier to leave it laid down like that and then lay your cardstock onto the stamp. It can get a little bit messy this way if it's like a colored ink and you touch it, but this is just Versamark, so I'm going to press all the spots on my cardstock. Okay, and then I'm going to peel it off. And look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Now, what I had already decided before I designed this was I thought, you know what? If the embossing powder doesn't stick on all of the places on there, I think it's going to look kind of like a distress look, and I think it'll look kind of cool. So that's what I had decided before I even did this. So this is so huge. I'm trying to sprinkle my embossing powder all over the whole thing. It's kind of hard to even find a spot to hold it. Okay, this is enormous. I always have to flick flick off any excess. And I think that that's really good, actually. Since I used my embossing buddy, I don't think that I got much extra sticking on there. Okay, I gotta get this out of here so I don't blow all of that powder. Okay, and then what I always like to do when I'm embossing is use my fabulous tweezers. So I'm just gonna do that there. Man, this was so big, I have embossing powder everywhere. Okay, so I'm gonna hold that there so it doesn't blow away. But first, you know what? There's literally embossing powder all over here because that was so big. I don't want that melted on my desk. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this embossed. So I'm just gonna heat this here and you will see it start to melt and it's gonna look fabulous because embossing is so amazing. Takes a minute for my heat tool to warm up. Once it gets warmed up, it's good to go, but it does take a second to warm up. There it goes. And the magic has begun. Look at this. And the hotter that the heat tool gets, the faster that this goes. And this is such a huge image. It's taking a little longer than it normally would. But it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be so beautiful. I thought about doing a Christmas themed card tonight, but I decided to go with fall because it's just obviously the perfect time to start doing fall cards. I probably should have started doing fall a while ago, but I just couldn't make myself say goodbye to summer, so I was kind of in denial. And this is actually taking forever. The cool thing about embossing on a dark color like this is you can really tell if you've missed a spot. You can tell if the gold hasn't switched over. You just do it until it's nice and shiny. There we go. I'll just glance and see if I missed any spots here. I think I got it all. Okay. You can't tell me that this isn't beautiful. Okay, you know what? I think that this is not quite done right here. Yep. It's funny when you look at it in different lights, you can tell if there's a spot that's not quite as shiny as the other spots. Okay, seriously, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we'll use that as the background of our card. Now, the part we're going to do our stamping is I'm using Basic Beige, and we are going to use the Beautiful Pumpkin stamp set. Now, honestly, this is the first time that I have pulled it out, and I think it's beautiful. I love stamping with pumpkins, that sort of harvesty look. Okay, so I have Cajun Craze and Pumpkin Pie. And one thing that I love about these images is that they're the distinctive stamps. So those are the types of stamps that have some washed out areas and then some darker areas. And so what I decided to do was use the same color of stamp pads for my layering. So what I'm going to do first is ink off, and then I will stamp. Okay. And then I'm going to pull in the detail stamp. Hold on a minute, it has a fuzzy on it. There we go. So this is the detail stamp that goes on top of it. And I'll ink up that same color. And you just line it up as good as you can. and look at how pretty that is with the two-toned. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with the smaller pumpkin, except I'm going to do it with orange, with the pumpkin pie color. So I'm going to ink that one up full strength, and then you just line it up as good as you can. And then you have the variance of color. Isn't that pretty? So again, super easy technique, and the pumpkins are beautiful. So we need to die cut these babies out really quick. I have the matching dies. So we will die cut out the large pumpkin, whoops, this way. Whoops, this way. Like I told you, this is the first time I'm using this set. And this one. So the bumpies, it looks like the bumpies go where the stem goes. All right, we'll lay that on there. And we'll lay this on there. And we'll crank this through. Look how pretty those are. Love it. And I thought it would look pretty to do it on that basic beige instead of like white or ivory, because I thought that it would really not detract from the image. Okay, and then before I came on here, I already did the stems. I stamped those in early espresso. And okay, that was a little excessive on the glue there, so I'm going to pick some of that up and we'll use it over here. So I used early espresso and stamped and die cut those. And then look at these. These are so beautiful. These are also from the dies. Hold on, I'm picking them up here. Look how pretty those are. They're so detailed. So we're going to use those on our pumpkins, but I didn't want to put them on yet until I know exactly where we're going to put them. So let's go ahead and layer up our card. All right, what did I do with my card base here? All right, so we are using crumb cake for our card base. So remember, we need the big background, and on the sample it was a large die cut, but I've done a large embossed piece instead. Okay, so we have, let's see, hold on here. I want to make sure I'm doing everything I want to do. Yep, I think this is it. So we have our large background piece. And the gold just gives it quite the step up in the glam department. So pretty. Okay, and then I have a couple pieces of the Autumn Toile paper that I thought that we would layer on here, and I just thought that we would rip the edge. And I don't want them exactly the same length, so I gotta make sure that these are gonna look different here. So I don't want them to be like the exact same angle and all of that. Like, you want them to look different. All right, so let's see what it would look like if we layer it like that with our pumpkins, sort of with that sort of sticking out. I think that I will end up moving that over a little bit because you won't even see that it ends. I think that's gonna look really pretty. And then we'll add in our die cuts. So let's see. I have this die here, hold on. So I am going to be using my traditional layers or labels dies a lot this season. These are with a new Christmas set, but they are so beautiful and so fabulous. I would suggest getting them for just sort of everything. Now I wanted to see how I was going to how this was all going to layer up, because I honestly wasn't sure what this would all look like. And I'm not sure if I actually like the way that it looks because of the roundness. Now see, if I tuck it like that, I don't know if the sentiment that I chose from the stamp set is even going to fit. Nope, it won't. So let's see what we should do here. Sorry, I can't pick this up. No, I don't actually even like that. So I'm going to grab a piece of basic beige. It's this one that we did the pumpkins on. And let's just do that instead and have it be another strip. I think that's going to look better. So I'm going to do it with the matching Cajun Craze. And this is from the pumpkin stamp set. So it all goes together. Okay. Yeah, I think that that is going to look way better. And I don't have my paper trimmer here, so we are just going to hope that I can cut straight. And let's see how that looks instead. You know what? I am going to actually banner this edge so that it'll look different than the ripped ones. I like to have a lot of texture, a lot of different things going on so that everything doesn't look the same. So let's see how this looks. Okay, everything is flying everywhere over here. Hold on. I didn't trim that quite as close. Okay, so let's see how this looks. Like if it's like a 3, see, I think that looks way, way, way better instead of that big label. Okay, so then there's like the 3, way, way better. I'd be curious for you to give me your 2 cents and tell me if you like it. Way better. Okay, so let's figure out how we're gonna layer this up. Okay, so some of our new ribbons that we have are this gorgeous, what is this called? Irregular weave trim. And I definitely wanted to use this because it is so beautiful. I didn't know exactly how I wanted to lay it. I think that we just want to do it behind the pumpkins like that. Sort of a back and forth. So I think that we'll go ahead and layer all this up. All right. So let's put some adhesive on here. Layer that one up. I'm doing it on 2 different lengths there because this is what you're going to notice here on this side. And then we'll layer on the sentiment. Whoops. I put it sort of in the middle there. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue these 2 together just so that they'll be sort of one item that I can pick up and move around. Okay, so that's how that will go. Then I'm going to put adhesive on the back of this here. Oops. And we will layer on this trim. I haven't even played with this trim much yet either. It's really an unusual texture. It's really stiff, so I honestly don't even know what it's made out of. It's not like real ribbon. Okay, I'm going to trim those differently, but the other thing that I wanted to try was bringing in some of these colors here. I thought that I would pick up some of the green tone. Let's see if it looks good. Sometimes you just have to give it a try. See if you like it before you commit. I don't know, see, I like all of those textures going on. I like it. I'm keeping it. So we've just added tons of different textures, which is really cool. This isn't wanting to stick over here. I don't think I have any adhesive there. So I'm going to put some adhesive there so that I can arrange that twine the way I want it to sit. Okay, it's coming together. Yes. All right, let's put some dimensionals on there. I have the very edge of this dimensional sheet on here. Let's use it up. Do you guys do that? Where you just want to use up one of your sheets finally when it's almost done. And I'm not going to let any of that go to waste. I use all my dimensional sheets. Let's see. Well, why not? Let's just, I never put that many dimensionals on, but let's just go for it on this one. Partially because I have all that ribbon on there. I'm kind of using my dimensionals to help it hold everything down. Oops, you can see that one. Let's move that down a little bit there. Is that better? Yeah, that's better. Okay. We're going to stick this on. What do you think, guys? So pretty. I know it's a lot going on, but come on, it's fabulous. So we'll trim this down. I don't want them the same length. So I'm going to trim that one a little bit shorter. And then the last thing I have is some gems. I brought in a couple different ones. I think that these are going to blend in too much. I was thinking that some actual gold would pop, you know, just because I have all that gold going on there. So I think that this is going to be fabulous. Let's get these babies on there. Let's see, where should we have them? Oops. Hello. Let's put one, where should we put one? Over here. Let's put one down here. Okay, and then I actually almost forgot about all my leaves there. This is going to really add that final touch, I think. Where should we put these? Okay, I think these are going to look so pretty. I would have been so mad if I would have forgotten these. Let's lay them over the stem there. Actually, let's do the little one down here on the little pumpkin. I could have put these on dimensionals too. Actually, let's put this one on a dimensional. I don't know where my mini dimensionals are. I don't know if I dropped them on the floor or what's happening here. So let's just cut one of these up. We'll layer this on. I still think this would be beautiful, but I think that it's just too much at this point because we have so much going on in the background. So I think I'm going to stop. Okay, so there it is. So let me show you the challenge piece again. So it's this, it has a background and then your focal point and then your sentiment. So I have my background piece and then my focal point and my sentiment. Okay, so what'd you think? I think that it's super busy, but it's beautiful. Like it all goes together, you know, like the leaves are a lot and everything, once you put it all together, it's a lot, but I think that it all goes together. That's my personal opinion. So I hope you loved this creation. The thing that I love about what we do is the fact that we're using the cards that are already have a layout and show you how to reimagine them using different stamp sets, stuff that you have or stuff that you're going to want to get. It's just fun to see a layout and then see how you can change it up a little bit to make a card your own. So I hope this has inspired you tonight with some of the new products. You're going to want to watch the other ladies' videos. Give a thumbs up and show us which one you like the best and who will be our first winner of season 6 of the Great North American Stampin' Show. We'll be here every Thursday for the next couple months at 4 p.m. Central, which is, wait a minute. No, that is 4 p.m. Pacific. It's 6 p.m. Central. It's 4 p.m. my time. I'm over in Pacific time. So anyway, thanks for being here. We'll be back soon again. Check out the other videos and I'll talk to you again soon.